I am Reverend Amani Malaika, for those of you who may not know me yet, and I am so happy to be here with you for this equinox intention planting festivity. We're going to call it a festivity. That's what it is. And I am really grateful to be here with you. We're going to be sowing some seeds of love, of good. We are going to remove the barriers, the BS, the crap that might be in the way of what it is you would like to grow in your garden. That is our intention this evening. We are going to intentionally remove in your condition. So whatever conditions may be happening in your life that you would rather not be happening, whatever conditions are happening in your mind that you would rather not be happening, we're going to weed those out of the garden, making room for the seeds you want to plant, for what you do want to grow in this thing called creation, as we are still in our creation series in this month of March. And we happen to be right around the moment of the spring equinox, which is a perfect time for us to be having this ritual, for us to powerfully sow the seeds of good and love. Very good. I want to share with you a poem written by David Alt, who is minister of the Center for Spiritualism, which is also on your handout if you'd like to read it. The field is right. Your crop is consciousness. And growers of old will tell you how to farm. Listen with half an ear, if that. Like you would from a barber chair, surrounded by men who bellow nostalgia as if it were their final reality. For it is your soil, dependent on your gift, your authority with the seed. Begin the tillage, overturn its fear, weed its assumptions, and plant a prodigious certainty that your vision is valid. The crop is fertile, and each harvest is revelatory. The field is ripe, your crop is consciousness, and you are the flower. So the field is ripe, right? Your consciousness, your soul, your spirited being that is divinely appointed and anointed and here on purpose is always ripe to receive whatever seed you would like to receive. Always, ever, and ever, always available to you. But there's this tilling that needs to happen. There is this turning over. There is this renewing of your soil in order to make way for what really it is that you want to cultivate in your life, what you want to tend to, what you want to harvest. Everybody has weeds in their garden. There is not a one of us who does not have weeds in our garden. Some of those weeds were planted by your parents, your ancestors. Some of those weeds were planted by your neighbors. Like their stuff blew in on the wind and got in your garden. Makes no difference how the weeds got there. Makes no good use of your time to blame somebody for putting weedy things in your garden. What needs to happen is addressing the weeds in your garden. Because it's your garden. It's your soil. It's your soul's work. So whatever happened before, whatever came before, whatever you inherited, wanted or unwanted, it is yours to till under. It is yours to turn it into compost. It is yours to determine what you really want growing in your garden. This time together this evening is really for you to spend some time with your own consciousness, with your own wisdom, to get some clarity about what it is that needs to go, what it is that's in the way, and what it is you want to make room for, so that you can plant in clear soil. David talked about growers of old will tell you how to farm. spiritual teachers of old will tell you how to grow your consciousness, how to be good and moral and just and loving. And there is absolutely nothing outside of you, no one outside of you, me included, that has any authority over your good. Not even legislators. Nada. Have authority over your good. There is one grower of your consciousness. Raise your hand if you know who your grower is. It's you. And you have full authority over what it is you want to grow in your life, in your being. What good it is that you want to see in your life. It takes a lot of effort, I believe, to turn our attention away from all of the noise out here. All of the noise back there in history in our past. All of the noise that we have internalized and made our own noisy minds. That's where spiritual practice comes in. That's where meditation comes in. That's where prayer comes in. It's all for the purpose for you to turn down the noise and align with the authority of your own soul. Align with the authority of your own divine wisdom. That zero anybody's ever. I'm talking prophets, I'm talking sacred texts. Zero anybody's have more wisdom about your soul and your being and your divine nature than you. You know, I like to tell people whatever is turning you on in your studies, whatever's drawing your attention, YouTube videos, sacred text, whatever you're reading, whatever you're drawn to. It isn't because they have something that you don't, it's because they have something that you resonate with. It's something you recognize, like, I recognize that as true. I have a feeling about it. So I want you to take a moment right now and think about the feeling you feel when something's resonating. The truth is resonating. Just really bring your attention, close your eyes if it helps, and turn your attention into your body. And notice how it feels to be in resonance with truth. See if you can locate it, a particular sensation. I want you to become familiar with that feeling. That's your soul, that's your spirit, that's your inner wisdom saying, yes, yes. And now take a deep breath, blow it out. Maybe with an out loud sigh. And I want to have you bring your attention to something that is not resonating. Could be something happening in your family, in your relationship. Could be something happening in your global experience, something you saw in the news. Something that simply feels out of alignment with good. That you have a particular feeling about right now in your life. And when you've got that in your mind, I want you to turn your attention within and see how that feels. What is the actual sensation happening in your body when you turn your attention to that? And I want you to get familiar with that feeling. Because that's also your wisdom. That's your wisdom going, no. When you're ready, bring your attention back to the room. David White, poet and author and thinker, said the ability to make a good beginning is an art. Beginning well involves a clearing away of the crass, the irrelevant, and the complicated to find the beautiful, often hidden lineaments of the essential and the necessary. It's the clearing away, making room for the good that you may not even know yet consciously you want to bring forward. For the good that may be right in front of your face that you haven't recognized yet. Because you might be attending to the crass and the irrelevant. Because that noisy can be really loud. That attending is how we spend our power. I was thinking about the simple phrase, pay attention. Which, how many of you were that distracted kid in the classroom where they said that 42,000 times to you a day? That was me. Mom, pay attention. Pay attention. Easily distracted every report card. But paying attention is literally taking the currency, paying my attention. I'm paying my attention to wherever I'm paying my attention to. But my attention is how I use my power. My attention over here on this part of the room sends my energy that way. Yes? Now, if I was up here preaching to you and my attention was like, oh, look how pretty the lights are, would you feel very attended to? Not so much. So this is a way that I use my energy. And I've shared with you before, the definition of power is the skillful use of your energy. Because we all have energy. That is our power. That's our greatest power. It's real power. So how we use that energy is how we spend our power. Make use of our power. So what you are paying attention to is where your energy is going. Where your power is going. What you are giving energy to. So I want you to remember those two sensations you just got familiar with. And just take a moment and have an honest assessment with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody. In general, how do you spend your energy? What do you pay attention to more? You think about those sensations. How do you feel more often than not? Are you in that yummy, yes? Or are you in that, no, not that? Or which one are you giving your attention to more of the time? Just tell yourself the truth. Because the good news is you have a choice. We always have a choice about how we use our energy, where we pay our attention. And it's really good, skillful use to know what it feels like when you're paying your attention in places that you don't want to, in places that you do want to. It's really good information. Because we can go unconscious, right? We can just be humming through roboting. And oftentimes in this community, especially in New Thought teachings or spiritual communities, in the spiritual, not religious world, but all of those worlds, we have a lot of ideas about consciousness. And it's like, sounds like this far-fetched, go sit under Buddha's tree for 40 years to get conscious. Right? Or get into your transcendental meditation pose for 4,700 minutes and then you get conscious. It's literally, what are you aware of? It's not fancy. It's where are you paying your attention? And are you consciously aware of where you're paying your attention? Where you're sending your energy, where you're putting your energy. And the more aware you become of that, the more conscious you become. What I know about the Holy Blessed One, that is ever renewing itself in the very breath of our bodies, in every season turning, in every bud forming, and every blossom readying itself to open. I know that each individual person in this room right now is the very life of that Holy Blessed One and is already forming your good in this claiming of it. I know that good and only good is always unfolding greater and greater and greater as the life of the Holy Blessed One, which means that good is unfolding in your life, as your life, right now. And that good, that beauty, that joy, that harmony is the blessing of the Holy Blessed One as your life. And so I know that anything that is in the way, any weed, any bit of other people's BS, any bit of inherited crap, whatever needs to fall away, whatever needs to be composted so that your good can grow more robustly. I know that it is happening right now. I know that there is no other possibility but good and greater good, and I know that that love is in action as you and 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 you, and it ripples out into the world, bringing more love, more wisdom, more peace, more joy, more harmony, more realization of our unity and oneness. And it is beautiful. And so with deep gratitude, with absolute surety of this unfolding good, I say amen. And so it is.